Hello again, and welcome to the Reform Movement, Slavery and Reform Movement, with an elaboration of historical figures influential in the Reform movements in the middle 19th century. Today's topic of interest is Fredrick Douglass. So let's begin. Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey was born and raised in Maryland as a slave. His mother was a slave. There's a lot of historical discussion as to who his father was. Many believe it was his white master. But throughout his childhood, he seemed to move around quite a bit, and he did acquire the ability to read. And along one of his stops as a youth growing up, he did share his knowledge on how to read and write with other slaves on Sundays until it was discovered. This seems to be a topic of certain books where blacks are learning to read and write in secret. He is a slave that unsuccessfully tries to escape on several occasions, but then in 1838 he is successful in running away and escaping to New York from Maryland. And what is very interesting about the whole escape and how he did it, dressing up as a, I believe he was wearing a sailor's uniform. He got some legal papers, identification papers from a free black sailor, but he was able to make his escape and get to New York, and it actually took less than 1 day to do so. In 1845, he published his own autobiography, Narrative of Life of Fredrick Douglass, an American slave. Very successful. A lot of people bought the book. He had people that really worried about his safety here in the United States, which prompted him to go to Europe. In the 1840s, he spent a couple of years in Ireland and Great Britain. Right in the 1840s, around the time of the Irish potato famine. But he ended up coming back to the United States after his freedom was officially purchased from his previous owner to become the editor of the North Star. And he was really the person that was the driving force behind African Americans gaining the belief that education was the way to improve their lives. He advocated for the desegregation of schools. He talked to Abraham Lincoln himself about blacks in the military, and he even talked about future President Andrew Johnson about black suffrage. But, Douglass spent his entire life working for human rights. Not only was he an abolitionist, but he was a supporter for the women's suffrage movement. He is a fabulous orator, speaker, a great editor and author, reformer, and statesman. He truly did believe that all people were equal regardless of color, sex, or immigration status. And I think what we can remember him is a man of incredible courage, a man of incredible intelligence, and a man for his progressive views. That is Fredrick Douglass.